Hello and welcome. Here we are again, Marianne and me. Tuesday, 7 a.m. Mountain Time. And today we have a truly interesting subject. Is it true that we are separate from nature? Marianne, why don't you take it on?
Thank you, Karina, and hello again. Yes, we had our conversation before, and we flowed into this whole idea of being separated from nature, as though aren't we growing up with that idea that we are separated of nature, and even the idea that we have to be afraid of nature, or
Yeah.
we have to be afraid of some aspects of nature, as there are aspects of the weather we have to be afraid of. And some of an element I heard more often in the last years by come and live here in Portugal, which have a lot of coastline, a great coastline. And there they say also, yes, but the sea is something you have to treat with respect, as it puts you in a place of respect nature. So for so long, I wasn't really sure what it was truly about, what they were telling, as though it comes from a separation, as though we can't control the sea, which is, we can't control nature. But there it's more clearly for them as that subject of nature, the ocean, the sea, you can't control. So you have to really put yourself in a place of respecting the nature of the ocean, still in separating yourself from that ocean. So it is really interesting, as though I passed a few days nearby the sea, and I really loved observing what's going on, how people act, who is respecting the ocean, who does not give anything about the ocean, and those who looks like they don't respect, but they are in there and playing in whatever way with the ocean, as you noticed it really in the energy that they were aware of what ocean was being at that time, but also aware of what their bodies were in interaction with the ocean.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting. And also, like, we have the theme, the global warming, as though, the weather isn't doing what we are used by the weather doing in the last hundreds of years. So also there it was, excuse me, oh, what wants to come out? What wants to see? Tell us. It was also there something like, but all the month of August, which is the month where are the most tourists coming nearby the ocean, but all the month of August was terrible. A terrible wind, a cold water. It was nothing like they used to. And now, how lucky are you coming now? Because it was a marvelous time. And the temperature of the water also was really, my body loved it tremendously. But there in that, the way they said it was really like, why does the weather not do what it has to do? and has to be in the right time, at the right place, in the right place, and also there it was like, yeah, that controlling thing from separation. How much do we think, believe, first, that we have to control it, and second, that we can control it by, and fill in the blank. So yeah, well, what's up with you? Because now you are traveling already a few weeks. So how do you perceive this, at one way, the separation, but on the other side, the communion, as though the being dependent on weather. How does that come in now when you're traveling? Does that come in? How do you play and perceive it in the last weeks?
I mean, on the one hand, I rarely felt dependent upon the weather. And the only times when I really felt dependent on the weather was when I was camping and
Mhm.
wanted to go hiking, and rain was not necessarily the most fun. Traveling now in a car and staying in houses, let's call it, be it motel, be it
Yeah,
Airbnb, whatever it is, I don't feel really that dependent upon the
yeah,
weather. And, you know, I don't mind getting a bit wet because I'm getting out of the car and have to walk a few steps to get to wherever I want to get. Um, and what I've also noticed, and not having been acting consciously, um, like I was afraid of being in July and August, primarily July, actually, on the eastern side of the US, which has more humidity
yeah,
and also higher temperatures. One reason I'm not that keen on Florida is because 99 degrees Fahrenheit and 99% humidity are not necessarily my cup of tea. Some people love it and great, but not everybody is the same.
yeah,
And what I noticed though is um, it was warm, but it didn't impact me in the way I expected it. The humidity was not as high as it normally is when I was in a certain location.
yeah,
Now, did I have anything to do with it by asking? As I said, I didn't cognitively ask, and I am asking. And I remember when I was living in New Mexico, for instance, we just had a flash flood, and there were black clouds coming from the west, and I just asked, please. I know we need rain, but could it just rain and not rain in the intensity to create another flash flood?
yeah, yeah,
And the clouds disappeared. And for me, it's really how much are we willing and uh, to collaborate with nature to state what is necessary,
yeah,
for us. I mean, I couldn't get out of that area because the roads had been washed out. And it took 2 days to get them back in, and it took my internet was gone because it came over the cable came over a culvert, and you could see one sticking out here and a longer piece on the other side, and the rest was missing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But it's an interesting
really,
thing you mentioned there, Karina, that collaboration.
yeah.
As though I asked it really to see where you would take this conversation also about how important, how significant do many people make weather, as though if I don't have that kind of type weather, then blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And in a way, for me, weather is weather, and it was always
Mhm.
like that. it, it's raining, yeah, it's raining, but how lucky am I that I can put on a coat, a raincoat, or whatever? Or how lucky am I that I don't have to go outside? Or how lucky am I? It's a way of going also with what is important, relevant, not relevant, significant, not significant. It's weather is also an energy.
Mhm.
Yeah, mm, and I love also that collaboration as not cognitive, not cognitively asking,
Cognitively.
yes, asking whatever, and at the same time we ask. As I can remember in that second, as I, it was not really a planning trip. Yeah, a short planned trip, let me say, a week ahead. So it's quite short time. And I know when I was signing up and looking for a B&B to stay, that I was in the question, oh, how would it be, universe, if I could have a nice time, a nice temperature, the water's
Mhm.
even nice to go in, but more from how would it be like? And already receiving at that time of the ask the energy and perceiving how happy my body is or would be with
Mhm.
weather that allowed me to go into the ocean and have a short swim or whatever, and a lot of walks because I love to walk nearby the sea also. So yeah, receiving at that time, it was like, it doesn't matter if it really shows up or not. Why am I
Yeah.
going out and nearby the sea? Because I love it. It is relaxing for my body, and my body required a few days of relaxation and a little bit more sleep, etc., etc. So, could it be that only from that there was so much collaboration already with the universe that it's a request, but a request not as in a command, not as in a control, not in as you have to be this and this and this. No, how would it be? So, and I received it, and now I'm laughing, but it was the day of yesterday when I came back home in the afternoon. The weather started to turn on, and the clouds came in, and it started to rain during my drive home. So how amazing is that? It's not because I didn't like, if it would have rained during my stay there, it wouldn't have bothered me. I could receive also that. But in a way, that collaboration is it's something that we not even think about by being separated of nature, as though we are part
Yeah.
of nature. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the difference from what you were talking about is how often do we demand
Hmm.
that weather be a certain way and not request? And you talked about that there is this demand that we can have that uh, be it in the summer, be it in the winter, uh, I want to go skiing. I want to have plenty of snow and I want sunshine.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, where are we allowing for things to be?
yes,
Where are we allowing for nature to do that? Because there is other people. If I stay with the demand of plenty of snow and sunshine, that the week before were in the same place and also wanted plenty of snow and sunshine. And then the week before they wanted the same thing. When the heck is it supposed to snow?
yeah, sure.
You
Yeah.
know? And so, how much are we even willing to be aware what is required? That there is rain that is required. In California, people tend to really like sunshine. When is it supposed to rain?
Yeah.
And I was shocked seeing how low the reservoirs are. It just goes down and down and down and down and down, and then there is some water.
Yeah.
And, 20 years ago, the reservoirs may have been a little bit lower and you could see some, but they were relatively full. I have never ever seen some it to the extent that it is right now. And at the same time, we are blaming global warming on the lack of rain.
Yeah. Yeah.
What if we would actually ask the earth, what if it rains?
And there is something that comes in for me with this together as we see uh, how much more buildings are there constructed, how
Mhm.
much more habitants, the houses for living, etc., etc., not in collaboration with nature, not in from asking, not from being aware, not from, it's always more and more and more and more buildings, less and less and less free nature. And then they are surprised that when there is a lot of water in a small amount of time, that, yeah, they can't manage it because then there are floods also. And then they have to accuse whatever, it's the architect or whatever they accuse there as not having their job well done, as they that, yeah, there are always things, but not even thinking how much control they put on nature, as though are the humans not taking for granted that they can do whatever they can do, not communicating with nature because they are separated from nature. So nature is also, in a way, a granted theme in their life, as there is nature, there is weather, and that's for granted. The weather is the weather, but then they take all the power of control in their hands. And then they speak, as you say, the global warming. But is that also really true? what are the symptoms of the global warming and where do they come from? How much is human acting involved in that? Human control involved in that?
Is it the question that I have is it human control, or is it the human stance of I want this and I want it now and I want it this way,
Absolutely.
that is
Absolutely.
not respecting the cycles of nature? I mean, I look back at, we had this phase where we needed to control the rivers until we learned that this is actually backfiring, to straighten it out, that there is a benefit by having the river doing the meandering and the wetlands and everything. It's, we try to control and impose our will without really getting, knowing, understanding, whatever term you want to use, of how nature functions.
Yeah. Yes, Karina, that's how nature functions because we have in school, we learn something, but we learn even from the separation as though we have trees and then we learn some aspects of this tree has that form of shape of the leaf and it grows there and it goes, but it's not really, we don't learn anything about what nature truly is about and
Mhm.
how the diversity is necessarily for growing, creating, generating, having the nature. That is so true. That is so true. We don't learn anything about that.
We don't take the, I mean, I absolutely get it that we may not have it initially, but are we willing to take the time to find out, to learn, to get? And I'm looking at, for instance, you know, uh, eucalyptus trees were imported from Australia. Uh, and are they really a great tree that uh, it it grows well and it does well in, for instance, the California climate? But is it a contribution to the earth in California? Or was it a contribution to the earth in Australia?
Yeah,
We just take, oh, this is a drought resistant plant and that grows. So we take it from there and we put it into an area where we think it should be.
yeah,
And we don't know how that tree is functioning. Uh, what is it? Tamarisks. They kill the native plants because they are drought resistant, because they have deep tap roots
yeah,
and they lower the water level. So the other plants that are native to the area don't reach the water level anymore. So it's killing the other plants. Uh, we just, oh, this looks like a great solution. Let's just do it, like straightening the rivers, without looking at what is the impact.
yeah. And then the eucalyptus, it is something that was on here also because it's coming from Australia. It's not really Portuguese
It's,
plant or
yeah,
tree. So it's good. And then what they told me was, yeah, but we planted it here a lot because they can go deep to get the water, and then they keep it clean, and they can go really well with high temperatures and the sun, etc., etc. But then we had the last few years really big fires who costs a lot of life on people also. And then they were causing, you see, it isn't the tree for here, and now the oil that's in the eucalyptus caused this and this and this and this and this. So it's
Yeah.
always fighting against it's
Yeah.
and that's coming from that control and not getting understanding how, yeah, what is required for a certain
And
tree and a plant to go and thrive and be
and
the
is it
contributor.
even necessary from a um, cognitive level, scientific level, to know exactly why a eucalyptus, if a eucalyptus tree is doing well here in this particular environment? Or would it be sufficient if we would just shut up and ask the earth, Earth, is this tree a contribution here?
Yeah,
And be with the yes or the no, because the
yeah.
earth would know if it is or isn't.
And that's a big difference, because then even in one lens, it can be that in the north it's a yes, in the middle it's a no, in the south it's also a no, or yeah, we can go along. But also there you mentioned something, the question.
Mm-hmm.
The question we aren't growing up with, questioning things. Yeah, a question, as we learn, is something you have directly the answer and the correct answer and blah blah blah, and the most of the questions are already a conclusion or something with the mark after at the end of the sentence. So what is really asking questions?
Mm-hmm.
And even now, when you say asking the earth a question, could it be that humans are saying, but what is she talking about? Because it's not a person. And we learn also that we only can ask questions due to another person. We don't ask questions to material, to nature,
To animals, to plants.
to
How do we think the natives in any place learned about the qualities, the impacts of plants, for instance?
Mhm.
Were they healing plants? Were they poisonous plants? Um, from my understanding, taking the school learning, they just did trial and error, and so many people died because they poisoned themselves, etc., etc. My idea is way more that they were smart enough to sit down besides the plant and have a conversation with the plant.
And Karina, can I ask you something about conversation? Because because also there, what is conversation? As though we have a conversation, and we have a conversation now with the words, but there is so much more conversation going on at the same time with our bodies, with earth, with nature. And is that the type of conversation you mention also when they are being with the plant and having the conversation?
It's what, I don't know plants or animals for that matter that are using words like humans do.
Yeah, on
And yet
television.
I can be, okay, let's label it, be in communion with the plant. I can be in communion with an animal. I can be in communion with nature, with the earth. It's a different way of having a conversation, and it's a conversation on an energetic level
Yeah.
that doesn't necessarily use any words,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. That.
And
And it is.
so,
Yeah. Go on.
and so we're just being with something and allowing that exchange is such a beautiful and different way of being. And, you know, how much has Earth changed? And that is something that baffles me so much. Earth, if we look at Earth history, the climate has changed. The climate has changed even during Homo sapiens rule. We've had ice ages, we've had warm periods, uh, all of that, but it was even way more extreme if we go back before people were living necessarily on the earth. And so just because the earth has been relatively quiet in doing no extreme changes of climate, we are assuming that this is the norm.
Yeah. Yeah. That that is so true. As taking it for granted in a way.
Yes, and I'm not saying that we're not contributing to global warming, but could
Yeah.
it be that even without our contribution, the Earth might have the need to change the climate just because of what's going on in nature?
Yeah.
Just because of what nature knows is necessary?
Yeah.
And yes,
And
no discussion about us being way more respectful towards the earth by not doing those stupid things.
yeah, but there is also something in that we contributed to the global warming, for of course, but it's not collaborating. What if the contribution from collaborating with the earth could create something with more ease? Because who the heck do we think as a human to know what earth is requiring, to know what earth is knowing even about us humans?
Yeah.
Isn't it? From the separation, we assume that earth doesn't know anything about us. And I can tell, Karina, and it's not, I don't have words for it, but the few times I sat down and I asked earth, show me, what do you know about me? I received energies, and it was so yummy, and it brought
Mhm.
me often in tears, in a gratitude. And no, I'm not sure what it is because I can't put it into words, but being in that moment and receiving what earth knows about me, yes, there is a knowing that it is contributing to me, to be more of me, to be who I am. And isn't that also the collaboration, or a part of the collaboration, that is peace, that is joy? If we would consider it, that it is possible, as with the plants, coming back also to the plants, and sitting and have that conversation, whatever way that conversation goes. But isn't that also knowing that interaction of, yeah, gifting and receiving together with the knowing?
Mhm. I
Yeah.
mean, how many people would entertain the notion of the earth knowing them? And as much connection as I have on the one hand to the earth, I was blown when I got from the earth. Welcome back. Thanks for coming by for a visit. And really having that sense of, wow, the earth knows me.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is something that blew my mind also, Karina, when I heard about this. When I
Mm-hmm.
heard about this, that Earth knows us. Earth knows me, Earth knows you, Earth knows us. And it is idea, that idea of being separated from nature that is limiting us in a way we even can't imagine what
Mm-hmm.
the true limitations are. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
from how could I even be with the fact that the earth knows me if I'm separate from the earth?
Yeah. That. Yeah.
It's that doesn't go together.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is, when you hear it, it blows your mind. It can even be a shock. It can do whatever it does with your brain at that moment. And still, if you allow yourself to discover, and it's not because I am saying it or you are saying it, or as I heard it from Dane and he's saying it, that I have to take it on as the truth. I didn't. But it was shocking me and blowing my mind in a way that it did wake me up as
Mm-hmm.
something. When it I have that reaction in a
Experience.
way,
Yeah.
I believe there is something in it that I can discover. And then going along, because yeah, it's for everyone different.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would be really possible, Karina, if we start, only start to consider the communion we truly can have with
Yeah.
every molecule of existence? What is there really possible? As you know, from my point of view, Earth does not need human beings to survive.
No. No.
But is that true the other way around? Can we
We have a
live
hard time without the earth.
that? That. So why it doesn't make sense to really stick with the idea that we are the power. We have the power. We do
Mhm.
have power, but not of the control as
Yeah.
commanding everything. It's something different. Yeah.
We have, what if we have the power of collaboration?
That's a beautiful one. The power of collaboration. Yeah.
And it's the power of collaboration with the earth, the power of collaboration with others, the power of collaboration with nature in the sense of all the plants and animals and everything that exists on earth, and what even the power of collaboration with the universe.
Yeah. And isn't that also the power of choice? We have choice of collaborating with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. As though the control in control is no choice. It's
No, there
one
is
way
no
ticket.
choice, there is just dominance.
Yeah, there is a one-way ticket.
Yeah,
Do as I say and do it
yeah.
now and do it fast. And even the way change things can change. in collaboration is far more faster than from that control point of
Yeah,
view, from that one way. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, Gorina, for this conversation. It was, again, a
Thank
really
you,
nice.
Marianne.
Yeah, we are with the both of us.
Yeah, we have a good time exploring
Yes, absolutely.
what's
Absolutely.
what's going on, where are we going, what's possible, etc. Yeah.
So let's see what will come up next week.
Yep, exactly. Where are we going next week?
Blown by the wind, and we will land somewhere, and then we can have there a conversation.
We'll always land somewhere.
Always, always. Even when we are flying, we are landing in some energy.
Yeah.
So thank you, Green, and see you next
Thank you,
week.
Marianne, and we'll see everybody next week. Same time, same channel. Bye bye.
Yes, bye bye.